Howdy folks. I haven't had much time to do painting recently, but I've been chipping away at a few things. I think I made a video like last week or something, and I did have some time off then, so I was able to burn through, well, finish off the old guard and things. And talking of the young guard, I've been reading up on the young guard, which threw me a bit, and sometimes they're referred to as the middle guard as well, or some of the regiments are. But I was a bit cloudy on that, so I've just been doing research on that recently. But these figures are actually foot line artillery, so they're just your average Joes, and yeah, they're nasty and glossy at the moment. But I have spent some time on the dark blue and things, so just working through those. To the left of those then are the Spanish Civil War figures that I've got. I've just removed mould lines and cleaned them up. So I need to prime them. I think I'm going to go with black for priming them, and I found a really nice painting guide for those. I'm going to be following that. At the back there, loads of Commandos and British Paras, all nice Paul Hicks metals, so a bit older sculpts, but really good, so I'm going to clean those up. Maybe add some figures to my British Paras, because I had a game of Chain of Command recently and they were a bit lacking, and I'd like to anti-tank gun for them as well, yeah. The artillery for the Napoleonics are really nice. They're not foundry figures, so really nice sculpts. And I had those crew loose, and to that purpose I bought some cannons because you've got to have artillery pieces. So those are the two, just like ordinary line pieces, and they'll make a little battery for me. And then I've got on to one side then the horse artillery, one piece of them. The crew, I'm not going to show you all the crew. I will show you all the crew actually. So just work on them. I quite like working from a black undercoat, so I'm just doing the faces and things on those. And the piece for them is a smaller piece. I'm sure one of you could tell me what it was, perhaps an 8-pounder or something. I'm not sure what calibre the horse artillery usually used. But yeah, so that'll put me, if I paint up all the crew and artillery pieces, I've got 3 pieces which could or should keep me going for a little bit then. I knew I wanted to do some artillery because I've got quite a few infantry battalions now, and cavalry, well, if they're not already done, they're on the way. So I'm just trying to balance things out a bit. And you'll have to excuse me whilst I switch these around. These are now my Cossacks. Oh, I shouldn't say my Cossacks, they're clients' Cossacks. And yeah, you've seen some of these Cossacks before. So just working through those. Sorry for the horrifically shaky camera. Yeah, I've layer painted those up. So I'll just give you a little cheeky shot of one of those. Just working through the layers. And spending a little bit more time on the flesh than I usually do, because I always think that pays off. I was just trying to see where I could go with highlighting of up the tunics and things. But we're getting there. Anyway, I actually didn't make a video to show the figures that I've been painting up, but they're on the way, and I think I'm making decent progress there. And before I move on to the proper topic of the video, which is the reading and the books I've bought recently, just wanted to show you those. There was actually some Peninsular War British casualties, and I've converted them to Cuirassier casualties. A bit of an issue there is they're all the torsos of the trumpeters, because they seem to be what I had left. or officers. So hopefully I can paint those up quite nicely. And there's always spare pieces in my bits box, so I thought I'd make the most of them. Excuse me whilst I just ship some stuff in the back here. There we go. So yeah, quite happy with that. So those should clean up and paint up nicely. On all old Flames of War bases. Reduce, reuse, recycle, and all that. This is the book I'm reading at the moment, by John Elting. Swords Around a Throne. Lee Hughes was asking me the other day. Well, I mentioned that I was reading it. He hadn't come across it before. So yes, Napoleon's Grand Army, or Grand Armée, and it's just meticulous, tons of detail, really thorough. So it might not actually be for everyone. It is very dense and sort of nitty gritty sort of details. Like he'll go through the organisation of even like the wagon trains and things like that. But I suppose what you could do, I'm a bit sort of a bit of an obsessive reader. I have to read like everything and sort of chronologically, but if you had the mind to do it, you could always jump between chapters and just pick out what you fancied. You know, there's chunky chapters on, well, the various regiments within the army, and so you could really just do that. But I'm going to go through all of it and just devour it, I think. Really enjoying it so far. So yeah, that's Swords Around the Throne. That's Elting. And then in the post today I had Black Powder, 2nd edition, so I brought a brand new copy of that. Barely getting that in shot. A lot of you are probably familiar with that, so I'm not going to go through it. I wasn't sure whether to go like 1st edition or 2nd edition, but seeing as we are on 2nd edition now, I thought there's no point being stingy, and you know, if I do come across people that are playing it, I would imagine they have shifted to the 2nd edition as well. Seems to be a bit more streamlined and just tighter, I suppose, than the 1st edition, so I suppose it's all good. But I wouldn't have bought it unless the supplements were still valid, and they seem to be. And to that end I bought Clash of Eagles then, which I was very surprised to be a chunky book. I expected it to be one of these like small supplements, but as you can see there, it's quite a depth to it. And yeah, looking forward to reading through both of those, and that's going to keep me going for a while. Now, the actual prompt, so we've kept the best to last. The prompt for me to make a video today was that I picked up a really interesting book and paid a pretty penny for it as well. So someone on eBay was selling some of their old books, and these were more sort of specialist stuff. I was telling Lee via email that they were to have a little gander basically, because he had all sorts of things like Wellington's memoirs and things like that, you know, like gorgeous hardcovers and sort of 1st editions and things, and he knew how much they were worth as well, to be fair to him. But I feel like I've got my money's worth with this book as well. It's really interesting. It's in French. It's about the Duchy of Warsaw. I just thought it'd be quite interesting there that it was originally 645 francs. So again, quite an old book, and or 100 euros, yeah. So I feel I have had a bit of a bargain here. And you should just see, I think I bought it just for the colour plates, to be honest, because it's all Dutch or French to me, the actual language of the chapters. But maybe you can get a taste of the plates in there. Really nice. I don't think sort of video quality can do it justice. The colour plates are really, really nice. And yeah, they're actually following the Poles then in the French army. So do keep your eye out for some bargains. Of the Polish troops in the French army, I've got 2 battalions of Murawski miniatures, which are Paul Hicks scalps. They're going to be painted up as... they're not Vistula Legion, I don't think. They're actually like proper Duchy of Warsaw troops. And the Vistula Legion, I think, were more folded into the French army, so they're more like under direct control. Whereas I think the Polish troops were actually under Marshal Poniatowski, so I suppose you could say they're like semi-independent in an odd way. But yeah, that's what I was reading about. I think I'm really interested in Poniatowski's troops, the Poles, and I'd like to do the Red Lancers as well. There's an interesting book on the Red Lancers that I'm trying to track down as well. So yeah, it's all good, it's all keeping me busy, and yeah, very enthused about the Napoleonics at the moment. And yeah, it's been good to have a bit of a clear out as well. I know where I'm focusing at the moment in Napoleonics, and American Civil War, I've decided not to go with that. I don't want to be distracted by too many things. So that's going to be sidelined for summer, I think, at the earliest. The Spanish Civil War I would like to do because there's interest down the club for that now. The Sudan, I haven't heard anything of that sort of project developing any further, so it's quite nice to be able to focus on Napoleonics and slowly chip away at some Spanish Civil War. So that's the plan, and do your reading, folks. Make sure you do, if you enjoy it, research around the hobby, and pick out these like interesting little books. You know, you've got your bread and butter sort of back powder supplements and things, but back that up if you can with, I don't know, so all sorts of like interesting historical books. Then you can go flesh out a bit of the missing history and things. Then that's what I like to do, but it's not for everyone either. But yeah, all the best, folks, and keep uploading videos. I'm keeping my enthusiasm up for one, and keeps everyone interested, I think. All the best then. Ta-da.